Hi, it's Edie here. We're going to talk some more about stopping something that's hurting you. But let me introduce myself again. Hi, this is Edie. I am coming to you from my home office in San Antonio, Texas, and I help people who are stressed out own their lives through adopting the practices that will keep them healthy and strong, also known as habits. Stopping something, stopping a bad habit. You know, bad habits are easy to pick up, aren't they? Because they feel good in the moment. And it's all about feeling good. The reason we want good habits is so that we feel better, but they take a little longer to make us feel better. Bad habits make us feel good right away, right? And so if it's that sugar high, or if it's the relaxation you get from the deep breath that comes with smoking, or all kinds of different habits that are not necessarily great for us, feel good in the moment. It's more fun to snuggle under the covers than it is to jump out of bed. And so that habit of hitting the snooze alarm can be detrimental to our well-being. Maybe not feeling bad, but certainly it can interfere with us being on time, and we can end up going through the day rushed. And there's lots of things that come from that snooze button. And so deciding to stop a habit is different. Remember that to adopt a good habit, we have to remind ourselves everywhere. We have to make it so pleasurable. We have to make it easy. It's got to be very, very small, very doable. And we need to celebrate it. So stopping a habit is pretty much the opposite of these things. So to stop it, we've got to kind of hide it from ourselves. We've got to make it kind of ugly. And we need to make it harder to do, harder to get to. And we have to notice how not fun it really is. Even though it might feel good in the moment, there's longer term consequences from the habits that we deem bad habits, the habits that deteriorate our well-being. It could be the habit of reading late into the night that makes you drag during the day. It's the habit of watching TV instead of cleaning the kitchen. It's not necessarily the big addictions and the things that really drive us down quickly. It's the little things that sometimes we need to stop doing. So we're going to connect this to my journey with cigarette smoking. I grew up in a household where both my parents smoked. My mother told me that I couldn't smoke until I was at least 21. So on my 21st birthday, I had my first cigarette. Now, she didn't say you need to start smoking when you're 21. She said don't start smoking until you're 21, because she thought that would mean that I was grown up enough to make a healthy decision. It turns out that she had more faith in me than was reasonable. And so I started smoking when I was 21, and I never really liked the idea that I smoked. It felt good in the moment. And actually, I didn't like that I smoked. But I loved to have my nails done and have that cigarette in my hand. It felt so glamorous. How silly is that? And so, fast forward, I became a 911 dispatcher, high stress position. Smoking was a way to get a break. And it seemed to help. And whenever I tried to cut down, I would get crankier, and I was already cranky enough, frankly. There was one time when my children's dad went out and bought me cigarettes. Now, he was always after me to quit. And he went out and bought me a pack because I was being so awful. So years go by. I'm an ambivalent smoker. I never was a heavy smoker. I put away about a pack a day, and I would buy it by the pack because I was always going to quit. It's the most expensive way to smoke. And then in 1988, December 1st, 1988, my older brother, whom I adored, dropped dead from a heart attack. Now, I'm from a family of 13 children. One of the great gifts of being from a family of 13 children is that you have this amazing medical history because you have so much variety in the people who are in your family. So we've got all these interesting histories, but we did not have heart disease as one of the things that we were concerned about. All of a sudden, I have a family history of heart disease. It was really, really hard that he died. But one of the things that came out, he was very young, he was only 49. One of the things that came out of it for me was that I was determined to stop smoking. Now this is December 1st, 1988. I decide that I am definitely going to stop smoking. And so I would decide to quit smoking, and I would put them away and not put anything in place, not think about it, not have a plan. I would just try to gut it out, go cold turkey. And I would pick it up again. And I did that over and over again. At one point I stopped for several years and picked it up again. It's a true addiction, because one of the hallmarks of addiction is if you stop and you get it, you think you're cured. If you try it again, you're going to be right back where you were. And that's what happened to me. I picked up a cigarette at a funeral. I was talking with a family member who also smoked and bummed a cigarette from them. And I was off and running again. And there I had to go through it again. And every time I went through withdrawal, it was terrible. I became even crankier and hard to get along with. I'm not as cranky now as I used to be when I was young, but I promise you, people who knew me when I was young will tell you that I was kind of cranky at times. So I finally learned that I needed to do it differently. I needed to have a good plan. And my strategy was that I prayed about it. And this is the strategy that I came up with. Now, this is before I've done all this research into habit change and what the experts say. So I made a commitment to myself, and I made 3 rules. Number 1, it's okay to smoke if I want to. It's my body. I can do that if I want to. Because part of it was other people would tell me not to smoke. And I have always been, if you tell me not to do something, I want to try it. And so I had to acknowledge that there was a rebellious part of me that did not want to say anyone could tell me what not to do. Now the second one was, if I was going to smoke, I have to make a commitment. And so if I was going to smoke, I had to buy a carton. Now a carton of cigarettes is expensive, and I'm not known for being willing to spend a lot of money. So that was powerful. And the third one is I can never, ever, in the rest of my life, even if I decide I want to smoke again, even if I decide to go out and buy a carton, I could never smoke somebody else's cigarette. Those 3 together made it possible for me to stop. And I haven't had a cigarette since August of 1995. And that's not to say there haven't been times when I wanted to. And honestly, if I get under a lot of stress, I'll still think that a cigarette would be nice. And then I think, well, I don't even know how much it is to buy a carton of cigarettes now. But I think about spending that kind of money, and I don't do it. And so the next time we get together, I'll talk about what the experts say and why what I did worked. See you soon. Bye.